Okay, I'll tell you the answer now after making you suffer, okay? All right, if I could travel back in time and be a young person again at the very first opportunity, I would.
Okay, so let's go with a few questions. Who's got a great question that they want to ask for Chris?
So the question is then, when you talked about the time you worked as a dog for like like a decade, how much of that has been a blueprint for what you're going through now, and how important was that? Because it seems like you have to go through that work to get to the point where...
So how much do you have to go through not taking a holiday for 10 years in order to be who you are today? Great question.
Okay. If there were some secret to be really good at difficult things, then I'd say you go do that. I'm just speaking from my own life experience. Things that are difficult by nature are hard to achieve, and therefore it's rare, and rare things are valuable. The thing that I want to warn all of you about is people who promise you no work, no money, no talent, no nothing, and make a lot of money, is because they're tapping into your base desire to be super, super lazy. So every time I see it, like, I've never seen it happen. I've never seen it happen. Because if you can't figure it out, you're the one that they're making money on. And yet, somebody here has bought an Amazon dropshipping program. I'm sure of it, right? I'm sure of it.
I just saw like 14 hands go
Some
like
people
this.
here, some people here like invested in some stupid crypto scam or an NFT because they're just throwing money at it. I don't know what it is. I mean, maybe it's because like I'm a first generation immigrant refugee. My dad and mom just taught me the value of hard work. It builds character. It teaches you what you're capable of. And so whenever I hit a challenge, I'm like, I love challenges. And I just want to talk about this one part, right? People are like, when have you failed? I'm like, I've never failed in my life. I've made dumb mistakes, but I've never failed because I just keep playing. The scorecard will come out when I stop playing. I've not quit. I've found many ways that don't work. I'll keep working at it.
Out of curiosity, who's had a prolonged period, years perhaps, where you've not taken a holiday, you've just had head down and just worked your guts out? Who's already in that category? So that's cool. You've already done that bit of the story. So that's really cool.
But wait. There's a problem with that. There's such a thing as working hard and working smart. The one that you want to do is work hard and smart. Because some of you are just working dumb. And I know you're laughing because it's like, I don't know what's working. Hit your head against the wall. I wonder if it'll work tomorrow. Hit your head against the wall. You don't look for mentorship. You don't research. You don't read. You just keep doing the same thing over and over again. You're grinding away at it. Like if Ben and I don't talk in that story that I told you about, I don't know where his life would be today. You know what the weird thing is? I'm surprised nobody's asked me, like, why did you talk to Ben?
Why did you talk to Ben?
Thank you for asking. Curious mind, right? The reason why I talked to Ben, and I'm a little reluctant to say this because then you think if I just say the exact same things in a disingenuous way, I'll respond to you in the same way. I won't because I'm smarter now. Ben sent me a message on Facebook. He said, Chris, I just want to let you know I've been a fan watching your channel, and this is only a couple years in, that you've done a tremendous amount of things for me. So I'm not here to ask you for anything except for what can I do for you. He caught me at a weird time in my life where I didn't have a lot to do, so I was like, I just started calling him on Facebook Messenger, a random dude. And he just, you're calling me right now? So we started talking, and we built a friendship. And every night when I was driving home from the office to my house, which is about an 8-minute commute, along the Pacific Coast Highway, I would call him. Now he's 3 hours ahead of me, okay? So if it's 9 o'clock, it's midnight for him. And here's the weird thing. Every time I called him, no matter what time I called him, he answered. He's like, Chris, I don't want to drop the baby. Hold on 1 second. Okay, great. And he bounces out of bed. It doesn't matter what time. If he's asleep or not, he's going to answer that phone. I'm not telling you to always answer the phone, but what I'm telling you is he communicated to me, your call is the most important thing in my life right now. And you know what I do? Back in the old days, I have 5 or 6 phone numbers of people I'm not paid to coach. I would just go down the list. Call, no answer. Call, no answer. Hey, Ben, what's going on? How's your business? What do you need help with? He just answered the freaking call. Some of you just don't even do that. Because I called you.
I picked up. The interesting thing, I've had this opportunity over the last 15 years to work with so many entrepreneurs. 5,500 came through our accelerator, and it's that reflection moment where there's a lot of hard work, and then they they have either a mentor, or they have a call, or they have a journaling session, but it's that reflection. One of the things that's like mind-blowing is so many people who have done the hard work, it's only when they pause to reflect, they go, holy, like I've got a story and I've got intellectual property and I've got all this stuff that I'm not leveraging. I've just had my head down. So it's that moment to kind of like pause the game, reflect on the game with someone who can see the game at a higher level in particular. All right, this gentleman, he's seriously...
He wrote it down, I like
this
that.
This question must be
Respect.
good.
It better be good.
It's been like that.
Yeah.
I thought there was other people with their hands up, and
You go for it.
So my question is about focus, and I run a private community marketplace. It's like Gumtree and Facebook Marketplace, but it's leveraging AI and technology verification to ensure everyone's vetted before they join the community. So I'm in a position where the community wants to invest in us. We don't need external funding, but I'm going to disintermediate many industries, but I'm in a really difficult position whereby I'm trying to just focus on the end goal, and there's loads of synergies with lots of different things. How do you stay focused with like, not, because I meet someone, I meet a founder, and it's like, well, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this. Every time I've got a bit of ADHD, and it's like, we could do this, we could do this. Actually,
You don't say.
How do you really focus to like, make sure you don't get too distracted, basically?
Did you even read your question?
Pardon?
Did you read your question? I thought you were going to read a question on the thing and you just talked the whole time.
Okay.
You freestyled that?
Yeah.
Yeah. He wrote a question he didn't want to read. It's a good trick because we're like, he's got it ready. All right. I just want to...
And I think a lot of people could relate to the idea of, in a world where there's so much opportunity and so many things coming at you, how do you stay focused?
Okay, before I answer that question, I need to just talk about the question framework that you just used right there. There's like a mental burden that you're placing on Daniel and myself to wade through all the information you gave us, and I'm an introvert, I'm tired already. That's the problem. And, so I'm not saying whether you're ADHD or not, or neurotypical or divergent, it doesn't really matter. Be considerate of the person you're asking the question of so that they can hear. And be open that there could be a dialogue between us versus dumping everything about what you're doing. So now I'm already fried. And somewhere in there, I lost the question. I think your question is, how do you remain focused, right?
Yes.
What's the challenge with remaining focused besides you being neurodivergent?
What's the challenge? What, sorry?
Being focused, see?
It's everywhere I see, because it's like opportunity, lots of opportunities. That's the challenge. So
Okay.
It's like really like staying focused. And there's obviously these synergies are great synergies, but actually it's so I run a community, and it's a community. It's not all about revenue. So like I was speaking to someone today, and
Okay, I got it. No, I got it. Okay. No, seriously, I got it. I promise you I got it. Okay. My former business partner had massive ADHD. Massive. And one day he's like, Chris, read this article, please. It explains what I have. I'm like, okay. I read it and I felt so bad for him. He says, basically an ADHD person cannot prioritize one task from the next. They're all equally important all at the same time. So if you're like, save my marriage, and there's a fly on the wall, they have equal importance. Does that capture your feeling?
100%.
Okay. So the way that you have to do this is you have to make an objective list of things you need to do and commit to doing the 2 or 3 things that's going to benefit you in the long term. And you make a promise to yourself that until I do those 3 things, I don't get to do any of the other crazy things. Now, my former business partner has extreme ADHD. Without medicine, he's bananas. But he's brilliant too, by the way. This is what he would do. No joke. He wore glasses, so he would take Post-it notes and tape it to his glasses, like what a horse wears, the blinders. And then he would put on the loudest metal music I've ever heard in my life, because that's the only way he can drown it out. And he built a system for himself. He's like, every morning he'd write, what are my commitments to myself this morning? He'd make a long ass list. And he's like, what am I doing? The 3 things. And the happiest moments I've ever seen him when he got 3 checks off those boxes. What you see as opportunities are merely distractions. There are a lot of distractions in your life, and you know that about yourself, so you'll have to figure it out. Ideally, you would regulate this without medicine so that your beautiful, incredibly fast-moving brain would work. I've also found this really weird thing I've noticed. It's just a correlation. But the people that I know are the most badass at AI also happen to be ADHD neurodivergent people. Finally, humanity has invented a technology that keeps up with the pace of their brain. I have a buddy, we call him AI David. He also happens to be Australian, so we call him David, because we spell it D-A-I.
Davo.
David. AI is put into his name now. Whenever I ask David a question, hey, David, do you think you can extract the data from a top 30 performing carousels and write a robot so that it could write some of the things based on the content that we record, but I've never had time to write? It's like, working on it right now. And it's like minutes, and just so much text starts streaming through my thing, like, and he just like keeps writing and writing and writing. I'm like, David, you're overwhelming. He's like, did you read it yet? And I read one. He's like, no, version 4. I'm like, dude, you sent me version 1. That's how his brain works. So I think all of you neurodivergent freakazoids, you better start loving on that AI because it's your best friend. That's it.
I love that criteria that you said too, which is the 3 things that will give me the most long-term impact. Okay, we got one last question. Yes. Yep.
You're so polite. In America, they would just assume it was them.
Zoom in.
They would.
Thank you so much so far for what you've shared. So this is a question for both of you. If you go for starting your business today, knowing what you know, what would you prioritize? 2 or 3 things you would prioritize for building your personal and business brand?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, please.
So the number one thing I'd prioritize is the team of people that I'm working with. So, like, you know, I don't know, is Steve even in the room still? Steve around? Yeah, hey Steve. So like Steve, who's my co-founder in Scoreapp, like my highest priority long-term is just keep working with Steve because I really enjoy, I've worked with Steve for 15 years plus, and it's enjoyable working with Steve. We don't even talk all the time, right? We might talk every other week, but I enjoy working with Steve. So I have worked on absolutely wildly incredible, exciting projects with the wrong people, and it's just exhausting, and it's tough. And I've also worked on things that start out ordinary with the right people, and it gets exciting really fast. So, you know, for me, the priority is find people who complement, find people who you've got chemistry with, and just play long-term games with them, right? Just commit to those people for the long term. But with that said, raise the level of the conversation. So for a long time, Steve and I just worked together as he had an agency that we bought from, and the conversation was like, build a website and all of this sort of stuff. And at some point, we recognized we had good chemistry working together, and then we said, what if we build a $100 million company? So raising the standard of the conversation. It's like, well, what would be a super exciting now that we know that we're good at working together, what would be a super exciting vision for us to work on? What would be something that's great? So big vision with the right people is my focus.
So Daniel, just to confirm, this is not the Steve you said you need to get rid of, right?
Well, when I say get rid of, I mean like, you know.
No, Steve, I'll just confirm. When you were in the room, you were saying very positive things about you, made me a little jealous.
You can't have Steve, stop that. I see what you're doing there.
Yeah, no, for real. I'm just, because you're like, yeah, of course he's in the room, he's going to pander to him. But no, those conversations we've had, so now I'm glad to have met you. Okay.
That's Steve, yeah.
All right, so your question is, what would I do now if I were starting over?
Yes, so what would you prioritize on to build your business and personal brand if you was to start over again right now, knowing what you know?
The problem is it's going to be, the answer I'm going to give you, I don't think will be helpful to you. So I'd like to ask you a question back. Because if I do what I do, I'm going to get right back and you're like, gee, thanks a lot. You guys ever watch those shows where they like strip the billionaire from nothing and they drop them in some weird country and by 7 days they're already millionaires again? Why didn't you follow that plan? Because I ain't that person. That's a problem. Because in theory, if you watch that show, all of us would be millionaires in 7 days. Okay, because they've learned things. So I'm going to ask you, when you ask me a question about what would you prioritize, in my mind, it suggests that you have already a list that you're thinking about. Tell me some of those things that are on your list, and maybe I can help you there.
I guess I'm just curious because having seen some of your journey and the content that you put out for business and personal brand,
What things are you considering?
Oh gosh, I've got loads of things going on.
Just give me 3. Give me 3.
All right, creating a movement of conscious embodied aspiring legacy leaders.
That's a result of something that you're doing. What kind of things are you considering doing?
Live events.
Live events? Like something like this?
Probably not as big, more intimate.
That's fine. We're not talking about size. Just live events. I just want to understand. What else?
Continuing with my run strategy workshops.
So running a workshop, events, so very high friction, in person, okay, high touch.
Retreats, but that might fall into my...
That's even deeper. So it seems like you're focusing almost all of your energy on in-person events. Is that right?
Yeah.
Are there any things that you might be missing? Well, tell me what some of those things might be. Because it's hard to scale in-person things. What might that be?
Some online stuff.
What's that? Online? Like what kind of online stuff? What was that?
Courses, workshops.
Oh, just digital versions of the same thing. I feel like you're avoiding some word. Are you? Like, does it make you throw up in your mouth to say it? I think a lot of people in this room already know what that word is. Ilya knows. He's like dying right now. You're saying what was your question again? What is the original question? Knowing what you know now, if you had to start over, what's the rest of it?
What would you prioritize on to build your business and personal brand?
What is the point of building a personal brand? What do you think?
Reputation, credibility.
Reputation, how do you get more reputation and credibility?
Evidencing, social proof.
How do you get social proof? There's a whole industry, it's called social media, but you won't say that. Do you have some kind of energy around the word social media?
I'm fine with social media.
What's that?
I'm fine with social media.
How come you don't say it though?
Maybe it's just so obvious that I didn't say it.
Oh, that was the theme from 2 days of workshop with Brits. The most obvious answer they avoid. It must be true, because I know all of you weren't there. It must be true. It was insane, Daniel. I got to tell you, because they're here. Some of them are here. See, they give me a dirty look right now. Because it's like, what do you want to know, right? They're like, how much money do you make? Let's say that's the question. Like, so in 1444, when you woke up and you thought about making bread, like, what is the... And then eventually you have to beat it out of them, like, just to say what's the most obvious, direct, simple thing. Now, clearly you guys are good with language. I'm speaking your language. Pretty good. So I think you just like to speak a lot of it and never say anything. That's the problem. There's a culture here where it's like, I can't say it directly. I just can't. So you beat around the bush. And so here's what I think, right? The words you choose shape your world. Unclear thoughts articulated lead to an unclear life, unclear plans, unclear destiny. It's all just like that. So the first thing that you can do for yourself is just learn how to articulate your thinking in the simplest way possible.
Don't apologise for being you either.
You pardon me?
Don't apologise for being you. Lots of people are kind of moving back and saying, look, I'm terribly sorry for my after years.
Are you telling me not to apologize or them? I'm not sure where the energy is directed, friend. I don't apologize for being me. Culturally.
Culturally, the British apologise.
For what? What are you sorry for? What did you do? Is this like original sin stuff?
Terribly sorry.
For what?
Everyone here is squirming and awkward with like
I see it.
you're saying be direct and we're like, oh sorry, I haven't been direct, have I? Something I can work on at some point in the
Daniel,
future.
I think we should take the show on the road.
We should take
rip on British culture the entire time.
Terribly
I mean,
sorry. Terribly.
Look, here's the thing. Some of you, okay, look, some people will come up to me and say, bro, I love you. I'm like, thanks. It's because I think the word love means something deep for me. I made this decision when I was a young person. I'm only going to say I love you to a person that I would die for, literally die for. So when we say I love you too, we've diminished the meaning of the word love. So when you say it to your kids or your parents or someone you care about, like Daniel, I love you, he was like, yeah, you say that to everybody. You say that to the bathroom attendant. Love you, bro. Thanks for the mint. Where am I going with this? I'm going somewhere with this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Well, your sorry means trash to me now. You were sorry for like looking at me. Why would you be sorry? Your words are power. Think about that. She avoided the most obvious answer in the room. I want to grow social proof. How? I'm going to do in-person events and masterminds and retreats. Like, huh? How'd you get to that? How do people even know that you have a retreat or a mastermind or a coaching session or a live event? Now I suspect, Daniel, could be wrong, how the hell did you guys find out about this event tonight? Because Daniel held an in-person event to invite you to an in-person event? Because he did no, he did it through social media. So here's the thing. I almost feel like, do you guys, did you ever watch this like science fiction TV show called Buck Rogers? Buck Rogers was an anomaly because he was frozen in the 20th century and unfrozen in, I think, the 25th century. So he was like a Cro-Magnon compared to how evolved people were. But apparently in the future, everyone's a sissy. No one can do anything. No one makes decisions. The man's not a man anymore. It's just like, what is going on? So he'd fly in with his rocket ship and shoot things and just break stuff. But I feel like you are a person that was frozen in time. They thawed you out. Social media, me not understand. Me no want social. It's like you have to take advantage of the tools of the time in which you're in. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? You're not going out carving blocks of ice and putting it in a box, are you? No. You're not walking everywhere you, oh, maybe you are, but you know what I mean? Like, use the technology and tools of today. So I think, and I'm just guessing, I don't know you from anybody. I suspect, although it's obvious, you might have some emotion around it. I'm not sure. My spider sense is saying, I'm off base? Am I off base? Level with me.
Yeah, I think you're off base.
Okay, you love social media. Where do you create content on? What platform?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. How often do you create content?
4 times a week.
That's pretty good. You have a decent following?
8,000 plus.
8,000 plus is pretty good. You're doing a pretty good job. Pat yourself on the back. That's how Americans would do it. Like, damn, yeah, I got 8,000. You got a little bit ways to go, but okay, you're doing just fine. So what else? What is your question now?
If it was just as simple as that, what would you prioritize on it?
Okay, I'll tell you the answer now after making you suffer, okay? All right. If I could travel back in time and be a young person again, at the very first opportunity, I would learn how to make content. I would write a lot more. So as a creative person, I'm like, I don't want to write. Journaling, stupid. Why would anybody do that? Read books, not for me. And then you know what? I meet beautiful, powerful humans who speak with authority, with passion, with fire, and they could just connect ideas. And they're 40 years into the game. And I'm in awe of how they're able to do it. I'm talking about Daniel. I'm in awe that they've been doing this for 40 years. And I think to myself, I've been doing this for 10. How good would I be at 20 years into this thing? But in 20 years, I'm going to be 62. You see? You're waiting for something to happen. So my children, I'm like, bro, go all in on this. Make your content. Start writing, start creating, start building community, because it's in there. You show up for your community, they'll show up for you. That's what I would do.
I love
Is that
it.
okay?
Now, what I love about you, Chris, is that
sir.
it takes courage to be honest and raw and to challenge and push back. It's very easy to give the softball answer, but you gave the hardball answer there, and we love that. That's why you are who you are, and that's why we all do show up for you.
Thank
you
Daniel.
so much for coming to London. Thank you for being with us fully this evening. Could we all give it up for Chris?
Thank you, Daniel. Ah!